control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She caught me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. In my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wednesday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. And we are live and underway, so I hope you're all ready, because it's time to get creepy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live and underway, and of course, it's Wednesday night, so I'm not alone up in here. I've got my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard, here with me.
Who is just sitting over here.
And microphone doesn't work.
Hello, hello, hello. Gosh darn it.
Dag-nabbit.
Okay, well, hold on.
All right, I muted you. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys are doing great, and welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, and it's time for 2 hours of Paranormal Portal fun and mayhem. So we got that as going for us, I guess.
I think I got it.
Oh, I think you're live.
I think I got it.
You're live. It's working.
Oh, it's about time.
It is about
Hi,
time.
everyone. Thanks for hollering out. Nice to see you.
Good to see all you guys. Oh,
Gosh.
man, there's lots of you here.
Hit that like button.
Yeah, let's smash that like button all night long.
Smash it.
Now, again, I just want to review this. I've looked at the analytics, and over 55% of our views are coming from unsubscribed people. So if you're hearing the sound of my voice, you're watching the stream, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And if that is all true, please subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button. Oh, please do it. God.
It's the only way we can keep coming and talking to you guys.
Yeah, well, it makes us feel a little more special each time that counter goes up. We feel loved. And each time the counter goes up, an angel gets its wings.
Oh, my goodness. Someday I'm going to fly like Mary Poppins, y'all.
Don't even know how to answer that. But, yeah, I don't know. They could get their wings. We don't know. I mean, it's possible, right? Everything's possible.
It's all in the paranormal paradigm.
It is. But wasn't that line? That line was like from Miracle on 34th Street or something, right?
Something like
Every
that. Yeah.
time a bell rings, the angel gets its wings.
Yep. That's right.
So that's where I was going with it, but you went all the way to Mary Poppins somehow. I have no idea.
Yondu.
Huh?
Yondu Andontu from Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That's right. Yondu. Yeah. So how you doing, Don?
I'm doing good, doing good. You know, what really sucks is you get up on a Sunday morning and you're standing there at this kitchen sink and you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to have eggs and maybe a pork chop and some fried potatoes. And you look out over your chicken coop and there's an owl sitting on one of your chickens.
Oh, really?
It really sucks. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I looked out there and I went, well, that's not a chicken. Oh, it's a hawk. And what's it sitting on? Oh, it's probably a chicken. So I go out there. I look around. I go, God dang it, it's an owl. And he turns around. He just turns around and puts those great big eyes on me and just kind of cocks his head like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm like, get out of here.
He's like, hey, kill your own chicken.
Yeah, no doubt. I usually would, but you're killing them all for me.
Did it kill it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
And the other chickens were like just bumming out?
Oh, the other chickens were up in the coop. They're like, I ain't going out there. I dare you.
If you want me, you're going to have to come get us.
Come on in here where you can't fly away.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
so an owl.
Sucked. Yeah, an owl. And then, so I chased him away. He must have come back later. This is after everything froze Sunday morning.
Oh.
Must have came back and got it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's gone.
He could carry that whole chicken?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Okay.
It was a big one, too. It was a barred rock. Oh, my God, those things are huge.
A what?
A barred rock.
Oh, I don't know what they look like, but okay.
They've got big, giant eggs. Oh, gosh.
The owls?
No, the
Oh,
barred
the chicken.
rocks.
Okay, I don't
Chickens.
know. I don't know what the hell we're talking about here.
Hence the reason I haven't brought any chicken eggs over lately.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're getting killed again. But this time I actually know how it happened.
Well, how about you put some of that wire over the top, eh?
How about every time it snows, it pushes it off?
Really?
It just pushes it right down.
Oh, I mean, are you using like a chicken wire, or are you using like
Yeah, well,
solid pieces?
No. I've used chicken wire and polyfence and all kinds of things,
but nothing holds.
Nothing hold.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. That's. I suppose you're up there in the wilderness. Basically, it's you're like grizzly longbeard.
No, Ken. Owls are birds of prey. They'll jump on anything.
What did Ken say though?
He asked, owls don't normally kill chickens.
Oh.
The answer is yeah, they do. I mean,
do they?
They're opportunists. Yeah.
Oh.
They're birds of prey.
Well, sure they are, but I didn't know. I mean, that does seem like a really big piece of prey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the same size, right?
Well, yeah. Actually, yeah, the owl wasn't much bigger than the chicken it took down. But then again, it's looking down at a tree into my chicken coop and just goes just like that. It's like, and
yeah.
I heard when it pounced too, because I heard the chicken, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just a bunch of chickens having, doing their chicken thing. But
yeah.
I just thought it was chicken. I always thought it was hens being pecky.
Well, so, they were getting peckied.
They were getting pecked. Yeah.
Grizzly Don. Yep. So Diana says owls getting my chickens is better than dogs. Dogs don't eat them; they just kill them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wow.
That's true.
See, I'm learning all kinds on the show tonight already.
Chickens actually are cannibals, right?
I did know that, and I know they'll eat meat too. They'll hunt and kill mice.
Oh yeah, they're great at mice.
Yeah, they're great mousers, I guess. And I didn't know that either, but I heard that from a friend of mine who has had chickens, and he's like, "Yeah, they find these dead mice all over the place."
Oh, yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Chickens will eat chickens.
Wow.
You remember a couple months ago there was that picture of a rabbit going around that was eating meat. Guess what? Rabbits are opportunists.
They'll eat meat too?
They'll eat meat too, yeah.
Oh, man. It's turning into Australia up here, isn't it?
I know. Everything's dangerous. Everything wants to kill you.
It's like,
come on up, Ken. You'll be right at home.
Yeah, we'll have to have Crocodile Rotman up here and take care of us.
Would that be Crocorot?
Crocorot, yeah. I just love that movie. But no, I didn't know. I didn't know that chickens will eat other chickens. That's all kinds of creepy.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess... well, you learn something new every day, ladies and gentlemen. But tonight's show is going to be kind of a whole cornucopia of things, and there's several things I wanted to discuss with y'all because there's some things that I'm kind of excited about, and actually a revelation from tonight about an old episode. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those mysteries that has been out, and it's actually our most popular episode of all time.
Yes, it is.
And what I wanted to show you guys was something that I think I figured out. I don't know. But here's the deal. I think I did. But there's several other things we want to talk to you guys about as well tonight. But Don, do you have anything you want to cover first? What, is that a joke?
No.
You know the show we're doing, Don, that way we talk and say things.
But I'm in the chat, so Dee Swigger pops up. She goes, "Vorpal bunnies."
Vorpal bunnies? What's a Vorpal bunny?
Oh goodness.
It's
not funny if I have to explain it.
I know, but the problem is I'm not really plugged into a lot of pop culture.
Okay, so hold on a sec.
It sounds familiar though.
It's from Final Fantasies.
Oh, okay.
There's also another thing. Let me think here. Can't remember. But anyhow,
we're off to a great start here, ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever. It's also. Do you remember? Did you ever play D&D?
A couple of times when I was young. Yeah.
Oh, it's also. That's right. It's also a nonsense word from Jabberwocky from Lewis Carroll. That's right.
Okay.
So, but anyhow, the Vorpal sword is from Jabberwocky as well. But it was also a sword in D&D back in the day.
Oh, really? Okay.
Kind of Vorpal +5 sword.
Oh, well, that
Great.
I understand. That sounds like D&D, yeah.
Good. So after I kill you, I'll take it from you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to unveil what I've discovered tonight as Don and I were sitting here. Now, here's the thing. What was going on was Linda Godfrey's first appearance on the Portal was a really cool show. I mean, every time she's been on has been absolutely amazing and wonderful, and she's just a pleasure. I mean, she's just such a nice person and very interesting.
Yes.
And she's a great conversationalist because, you know, I mean, there's a conversation. You know,
Right.
It's not just me talking and it's not just, you know, her talking. It's just this sharing of thoughts and ideas. Well, the first time she was on our show, and again, in case some of you may not know, and I don't know how, but she is, of course, the person that almost single-handedly put dogmen on the map.
Yep.
She is from Wisconsin, and she's a researcher of the dogmen and Bigfoot, and you know, many other things as well. But she's best known for her dogmen research. But she was on, and this was her first appearance, and she had a co-researcher on with her named Lee Hempel. And if you get a chance and you have Amazon Prime, please check out The Bray Road Beast.
Right, by Small Town Monsters.
Yep, it's a production company that did it. It was called Small Town Monsters. Well, Linda is on there, and this is far past when she was actually on our show, but her and Lee were on the show, and Lee is actually on that as well. It's an excellent documentary, or, you know, I don't know if it's a documentary so much as just, well, I guess it is, isn't it, Don? How would you explain what that is?
I would say an informational documentary regarding Dogman.
the Beast of Bray Road and
Beast of Bray
Dogman,
Road
yeah.
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah, so it has to do with that Elkhorn, Wisconsin area where there's a road named Bray Road. And on this Bray Road, of course, there's been many sightings over the years of these werewolf-looking things. And Linda was one of the first real researchers of that that I'm aware of. And she, you know, you have to watch the movie to really understand the background if you're not familiar with it. But she's also an accomplished author and has written nearly 24 books on cryptids and paranormal phenomena and stuff. She's just really a dynamic and interesting person. But when she was on the show, she had her friend Lee Hempel, who's a co-researcher and also a resident of the Bray Road area, and he actually owns property there. Mm-hmm. Lots of weird phenomenon going on there. A little background: he was, of course, the Bray Road Beast has been seen around there, and he's right on the Bray Road area. But he would find these carcasses that were just carved, and by carved, it's like these precision carvings and stuff. He set out trail cams and has a bunch of attempts to try to record what the hell's going on there. But essentially, she sent us, before that episode, sent us three images that have never been seen anywhere else except on this show, and in the entire world, which I was really honored by, and I haven't seen them anywhere else after the show either. But there's this really weird anomaly. Now, Lee uses these Motree trail cams, and they are apparently will trigger on anything within 85 feet. And when they trigger, he has them set so it'll take 3 images per second.
Right.
And so he's done these things where they will put out a carcass, set up the trail cams and stuff, And on one image, like the first image, it'll go off. And the first image that happens, a weird fog appears just over the carcass. And then the second image, a little more fog. And then the third image, everything's gone, including the carcass. So this is in a 1 second span that something has come and has taken this thing and avoided complete detection. Really, really bizarre phenomena, but you know, the sightings of these things are around. But the images that she sent us was one series of pictures that were from his field where he believed they could be traveling through. Mm-hmm. Now I will put them up on camera here. All right, so let me get the camera up so you guys can see what I'm discussing here. So this is the first image from Lee's trail cam, and as I recall, it wasn't July, it was June. Was that right?
Yeah, it was.
So this is of last year.
Right.
I think it was June actually instead of July, or there was something discrepancy with the date. I remember that from the episode, and I don't remember what the variation was. But other than that, the clock was set right and everything. So this is the first image. Now remember, this is a series of 3 images that take place over the period of 1 second. Mm-hmm. So something triggered the cam. Now over here on this area, you see this little ball, okay? And it looks like it might be some kind of orb. Now, the next image is really interesting because it is this. Now, the ball has moved from here to here within the span of a half of a second, you know, which is a considerable distance. And then the third image is this, and the ball is right here. So it's traveled from all the way back here to up here in 1 second of time, which means that it can't be a bug, it can't be a bird. That thing is just really cruising, whatever it is. But the interesting anomaly that really should be addressed here is this thing right up here. And this, they were like, we can't figure out what it is. Now, some people may say it's a lens flare or something, but it's not. It's far too geometric. It has a shape. It has a structure.
And it just appeared.
And it just appeared in the span of one frame. So it's basically 0.33 seconds. This thing appeared, and this is what it is. Now, if you look at it, the interesting thing is it has shading. It has dimension. It's not just a light anomaly. It has real ridges and looks to be machined to some level. And it looks like it has a segment here. Perhaps, I don't know what this part is here, but then here. And then it has this staff kind of projection from it, and then these weird things here. Now, when you go back to the picture before it, let me see, maybe I can't do it when I'm zoomed in like this. I think I got to zoom back out, but I'm going to zoom back into this in just a second. So remember now, this is an area famous for dogmen. So the image before and after, this whole segment from these little protrusions to this shaft to this weird head that looks like it's ending in a real pointed thing to back to nothing. So in within a 0.33 of a second, this thing appears and disappears, and a very, very bizarre phenomena. But here's the interesting thing. Okay, I'm going to zoom into this again, ladies and gentlemen, so you can see it. I was listening over the course of the last few days. I was listening to some Dogman episodes, and listening particular to ones that Linda has been on. Now, part of that is because, of course, I'm interested in the phenomena. I wanted to hear what she said on other shows. The other part of it is I like to research other shows to see what they're doing and to hear how they're doing, and so that I know how we're doing, I guess. I don't know.
We need to be able to quantify ourselves within that realm.
I just like to listen to the competition. But anyway, she was on the show, and she was discussing the Dogmen. And they got into a historical discussion. And, of course, when you consider the history of the Dogmen, you have to consider how long people have reported these canid type of beings. And, of course, there was the cynocephaly, which was a whole alleged race in the ancient world of these dog-headed creatures. There are dog-headed soldiers reported throughout history as well. So the other thing is then, of course, Anubis. Anubis being the Egyptian god of the dead, who looks like this big black jackal standing on 2 legs. Now, here's the thing. When you look at this image, now on Lee's property, As I mentioned before, he had these carcasses that would have these carvings on them, absolute precision slices.
Right.
He tied one down with a rope one time just to make sure it wasn't just the normal predators dragging it away. Went out the next day, the rope was cut cleanly.
Well,
so
he also had it in pit because he dug a pit, and he put the stuff in the pit.
right, and then tied it.
Right.
Yeah. So but the rope was cut cleanly and the carcass was gone. So whatever is doing this not only is appearing and disappearing in really stealthy fashion. Now remember, the Bray Road Beast is believed to be a dogman. It's very canine looking, very bizarre looking. Actually, I've heard several different. And as I was listening through those different episodes, I heard Linda really get into the physical explanations of it. I think more in depth than she did on our show, which is fine. That's but now the thing is you look at this, and we went to break after reviewing this, all of us perplexed because it has dimension, it has a presence, there is shading as if it's three-dimensional, like there's light variations that show where the light is not hitting it, where the light is brighter around here and on top, and here on the ring, which is around where the shaft comes in,
Right.
and Don and I were talking about it over break, and we were like, Don said, it looks like a scythe or a scythe. I don't remember how you said it. And I was like,
it's a scythe.
yeah, I know. But I think you pronounced it wrong, as I recall. Maybe not.
No, but anyhow.
Anyway, but I was like, and then as soon as Don said that, I was like, oh my God, you're onto something here. We got back on the air and talked to both Linda and Lee about that. And they were both like, wow, that's a possibility. So the other thing was, so that was what happened historically on the show. And I'm trying to do this in a methodical, well-explained fashion. I hope I'm doing okay. But I'm looking at this implement, and it's been in my mind constantly. It's like, what the hell is that? How does that relate to the Dogmen? And then, as I was saying, I was listening to Linda on these other shows, and while I'm watching the other show, they're doing the historical discussion about the Dogmen. And whoever's channel it was, and I don't remember which show it was on, but they put up a slide of Anubis. And in Anubis's hand was a scythe like this. Now, to me, and I'll show you some images of what that actually looked like. Let me pull those up. Some historical references to ancient Egyptian weaponry. And I thought this was incredibly interesting and incredibly profound because it's well, I'll get into that in just a minute. So here is a traditional Egyptian blade. It's called a khopesh. And as you see, it has a handle. It has this curving going on here, and it's a bladed instrument, obviously a sword, based on a scythe type of design, and was used in battle and used to, to do damage. But Anubis is often pictured holding these in many depictions of Anubis. Another thing that he is depicted holding, well, there's another example of this, and this is an ancient Egyptian style of weapon, a khopesh. This is ancient Mesopotamian weapons, and again, you see this weird hook and angle design and such. Now, there's also spears that have a similar type of head, but more angular. So I saw this and I went, oh my God, is that what we're seeing on that trail cam picture? Are we seeing some kind of variation of that ancient weaponry? Is this, like a modern design of it? So is it possible that whatever Anubis was, if it was ever an actual creature, perhaps they did use weapons, and perhaps that being or those types of beings have since spread. Now, we know other types of beings have spread, like the little people and stuff like that. So is there an really intelligent quality to these beings that may be what's inspired
Right.
the legend of Anubis or the story of Anubis?
See, Jim Mount, he just sent us this in our messenger, but he sent the same one I pointed out as we were looking.
Oh, that spear?
Yeah. So, gosh darn it.
Did he send it to the group?
Yeah, well, he sent it to our chat group that we have, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. And
Yeah,
let me see if I can find Jim's and pull it up quick.
Here it is.
Quick.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
shoot. Wrong one. Hold on.
You don't pull it up on that screen anyhow.
No, I mean, not, yeah. I don't know what else could be in that chat. It's a family show, ladies and gentlemen. Let me pull it up here. Okay, this is it. All right. So let me pull this over. And this really
shows more of the angles to it, or a different aspect of it. Yeah.
Let me put this on the desktop too and just say Anubis 2. And so you'll see that this appears even also more similar. Yeah, this is the same image you and I found earlier.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yep. So this is let me get this up. Let me go. Oh, I guess I could just do this. So this is another depiction of Anubis carrying. Oh, I can't zoom in. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I can. Okay, hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, so you can see again this weird, angular design of this scepter or spear or weapon, and it's not that different from this. So are we witnessing the first capture of what could be these legendary creatures that go all the way back to antiquity, into ancient Egypt and
Right.
probably before them?
Right.
So is the Anubis figure based upon a race that was present at the time?
Right.
And how do you become the god of death? Well, you kill a lot of things. you mess some fools up, and suddenly you become the god of death, the symbol for the god of death. So perhaps there was some run-ins with these things, and they were so ferocious that maybe they became the god of the death in the Indian, or Egyptian. God, I can't even believe it. Mythos. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just had an aneurysm there. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is absolutely freaking profound. I'm absolutely stunned by this and excited by this, because could this be, some link to that ancient figures or ancient beings, and showing that they are here and lending lending a continuity to that story of what these things are, how they're here.
Right.
And, I know that they're never seen with weapons. They're not seen with weaponry. They're not seen holding spears or hand tools or anything like that, or hand weapons. They're seen, but they're not really seen that much either, ladies and gentlemen. When people are seeing these things, usually there's a whole lot of terror involved. And so is it possible they could also have things with them? I don't know. It might be a stretch, but I don't know. Whatever's happening on Lee's farm involves things disappearing in a blink and a lot of cutting involved. And so, dogmen, as I understood them, were just kind of this feral beast, intelligent, but not, not sophisticated. But what if they are more? What if they are so much more?
Well, if they are, in fact, let's get a little paranormal, a little less cryptid and a little more paranormal with it.
It's all paranormal, but okay.
Well, I mean, but let's go, full bore. What if they're from another dimension, and that was a pocket dimension that they could access it from?
Right.
Say, a dogman's running at you, and they can reach over and go pocket dimension, and pull one out.
Right.
Back it goes. Who knows?
Maybe.
But I mean, who's to say that dogmen are from this dimension to begin with?
Right, and that's a very good consideration. I mean, are they this multidimensional being? Is that why they kind of just disappear? Whatever Lee's recording happened. This happened in 3 frames within 1 second of time. So that's a hell of a quick transition for this to be in and out. And all it recorded was this little piece, this little part. And so, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, I rest my case.
Make conclusions based on your own beliefs.
Right. Again, that's exactly right. I mean, of course, I can't be sure. I can't.
They're interesting correlations, though.
They are, and that's what seems so profound to me is that.
Hey, can you back up? Nadine just said it looks like a lens flare. Can you back up to the frame back?
Yeah.
So she can see.
Yeah, there's 3 images in this series, and of course there are light rays. But this is I'm a photographer as well, and I've never seen a lens flare that had shading and dimension to it. But let me go back. This is the first frame, and there's nothing. And this, remember, ladies and gentlemen,
this is a still camera. It's not moving.
It's a trail cam. It's mounted. It's fixed, and all 3 of these images are within 1 second of time. Now, if it was on all 3 images, I would say, okay, it's a really weird lens flare and you got something. And I appreciate what you're saying, because that certainly has to be a part of the consideration whenever you're looking at things like this. You've got to look at the mundane. But, you know, this is frame 1. Nothing's there. Frame 2, 1/3 of a second later. And again, you can see just a little shift in the leaves. So obviously it was a windy day as well. But boom, and then boom. So that's within 1 second of time, according to Lee. This is his explanation. But this is 1 second with 3 images capturing this one anomaly. And the other anomaly, of course, is this little white ball. Now let me go back again, and we can track that white ball. Way back over here, initially. Now, granted, this is a 3D space, and so it's hard to know how close this is, if it's just a little higher and then a little lower, and so it appears closer in the foreground. Right. That's a consideration as well. So I can't be sure about that little ball, but that is interesting. So it's here. The little white ball is now here. So it's traveled from here to here, which, you know, even in a half a second, if this was all in the same plane vertically, you know, and it was just shrinking down, that's still quite a distance for 1/2 of a second of time. One third of a second of time. Yes, thank you.
It's even smaller.
And then the next frame, boom, it's just here. So it hasn't traveled as far here, but still, that's, if it is even on the same plane, for that to happen in the period of 1 second is one quick little anomaly, whatever that is. So, but again, it's only there for that one frame. Very interesting. I'm really excited about this discovery. I really am. Now, I did email Linda and, you know, sent her my discussion points that I've been having with you guys. We'll have to see what she says, and maybe she'll be like, you know, no, that can't be it, or whatever. I wasn't there. I didn't look at his equipment. I've never had any experience with this location, right, but it does look like a freaking tool. I mean, again, let's zoom in on this, get a real close look at what this thing looks like. But you can see this here and this here. This is not on the other 2 images, nor is this shaft right here leading up to this head. And this looks like something, you know, like a ring on the top of this peak of whatever this is. But very, very strange, you know. And is it a distortion because it is phasing? Is this a distortion because of that? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But it is really, really, really bizarre. So, again, these pictures have never been anywhere else. They were the world exclusive on the Paranormal Portal, which I'm also very proud of. But, you know, I mean, that is kind of cool, right?
Breaking news.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. You can only find it here on the Paranormal Portal. But, you know, we'll see what she says. But I'm really excited about that correlation, because when I saw that statue of Anubis, I was like, derp, get it again. I was like, yes, I think that's something to it. So anyway, I wanted to share it with you guys. Pretty exciting for me personally, but we'll see how it's reviewed and received by Linda and Lee. So back to the rest of the deal. How you doing, Don?
Doing good.
Good. Got anything to share?
No, I mean, I'm just, I'm trying to stay up with chat. Hi, Brian. How are you doing? But Nadine said, well, what if it was, the wind blowing through the leaves and the leaves moved? Well, that would have been more than a second, of it just being or a third of a second.
And if you look at the direction of the sunlight, I mean, these trees, let's go back to the 3 panel so you all can see, but these trees are quite a bit in the background. Mm-hmm. They're not like right over the top of this. This is all field here, and whatever this is maybe, I don't know, I would guess maybe 10 feet from the camera, so it would probably put it in about this area right here. And vertically from here. But these trees are probably back another 30 yards, I would guess, from this point. So and if you look at these light rays, the sun looks like it's probably maybe at the 1 o'clock position. So it's still pretty much overhead. These light rays are coming just at a bit of an angle, but not a steep angle. If they were coming more like this or like this, then I would say, yeah, maybe it is from the light peeking through the trees. Maybe that could explain some of it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just a cool thing. Now, I do appreciate what you're saying, Nadine, and I think it's important. It's important to exhaust all possibilities, and those are definitely, and I have no horse in the race on this one. I mean, I whether it's just a fluke or not, it doesn't really, weigh on me as far as the paranormal portal, because I'm not making any claims of all this. But if it is indeed related to the Dogman phenomenon, and it's carrying this scythe-looking thing,
it's creepy.
That's bizarre. That is bizarre. That is really cool. So, again, thank you guys for humoring me as we went over that. But I'm pretty excited about it. I keep checking the email. Like, she responded?
She's in Wisconsin. Give
I
her
know.
some time.
Well, it's not like she don't have internet.
Yeah, but it's also my bedtime if I was over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What time do you go to bed?
As soon as I can.
Yeah, but what time does that end up being?
Well, if I had my ruthers about it, I'd be in bed at 8:30.
Okay.
I'm not a night owl.
Okay.
However, if I did do that, I'd probably be up at about 4:30. So
Oh, yeah, I'm usually up at 4:30 anyway. I don't know why. I go to bed about midnight and get up at about 4 or 4:30. I sometimes take little mini naps after that, but
that must be nice.
Well, I mean, I'm like 10-minute naps. It's not enough, but it's something. It's something. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's right off the bat our first cool discovery or possibility. Anyway, I'm excited about it. So there's a couple other things I wanted to share with you guys tonight as far as current events, which I think are pretty cool. One of which is apparently, and we'll go through this article a little bit, but one of which is apparently Michio Kaku believes that and if you're familiar with the show when we're on the network, we do the breaks on.
I was wondering if you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we do the breaks that are coinciding with the commercial breaks on the network on YouTube. So I did these little video segments, and one of them is about UFOs. So this article it's UFOinternationalproject.com, and they say probably aliens confirms top physicist on the recent U.S. government UFO videos. And I'm going to pull this over as well and put that up on the screen as we go through it. And let's see, I just want to review this quick, but just so you guys can see, this is the footage that they're referring to, these videos. And so the U.S. physicists they're discussing as making the claim as probably aliens. I don't think he said probably ever, but it is in quotes, so they are quoting that. But that's Michio Kaku, and if you're familiar with the Discovery Channel, then you're familiar with Michio Kaku. And some people think he's a UN, scientist puppet.
Shill.
Yeah, shill or whatever. And
Just say shill.
It's possible. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I've always liked listening to the guy.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, but I mean, so this is the footage in question. I wanted to pull that up there so you guys could see it. But what they're saying is that he's allegedly referring to this and saying, let me see. It says, Dr. Michio Kaku, the well-known American physicist, has recently publicly announced that he believes the U.S. government recent UFO release video could actually be super advanced alien beings. He originally first claimed that a bizarre object is a U.S. military personnel reported seeing, which had been pursuing some of their warplanes, could be a new type of super fast aircraft. The doctor soon after making this claim dismissed it and now believes that this could indeed be an alien craft in the new controversial video. Now, apparently this video that I show in that break sequence, it's one of two military released from the Pentagon that I put into that break. They're the ones that are black and white. I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. But apparently the one that's kind of spinning, which is the one that it was showcased in those photos, allegedly that craft was flying against 120 mile an hour winds because it was way up there apparently. And so that's what I've read in this article. I'm going to try to find that quote, but I think that's really interesting. So 2012, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the Erie encounter, a huge whitish oval object about the size of a commercial airplane, was chased by two Navy FA-18F fighter jets from the aircraft carrier Nimitz off the coast of San Diego.
Oh, the Nimitz.
Yeah, the footage, which was released by the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, sees the pilots unable to identify a mysterious fleet of UFOs. One of the pilots said that the mysterious rotating aircraft were going against the 120 mile per hour wind. Despite the Pentagon's claim that the program has been shut down, the original backers say the investigations are ongoing. So, I mean, I think it's alien. I don't know. I mean, is it possible that it's some advanced project? Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the hell we're capable of, though. That seems like the ongoing question, right?
Yes.
What can we do? What's really going on in those black projects? Well, we don't know. But if that was flying like that and tumbling against 120 mile an hour winds, I mean, and so it's multiplied force, right? If the wind is if you're standing still, it's going 120 miles an hour, but this thing is generating more force by flying against it and still tumbling. So it doesn't seem aerodynamically possible that it could do that,
Right.
Well,
that's like when you throw a football, right? You want it to spiral and it's the same thing as shooting a gun. You've got rifling inside the barrel to spin it to counteract all kinds of forces, whether it be wind, the Coriolis effect, anything. So that spinning counteracts all that. That's why you want to throw a spiral when you throw a football, or you want your bullet to roll, but you don't want it to. You want it to spin, not tumble.
Right, but let me pull up.
So
I got to see if I have this footage here from our break sequence, because I think that it's more than just. It seems to be tumbling more than spinning. Based on its trajectory. Right. But let me see where it is. Oh, here it is. Break videos. Okay, cropped 3A. All right, I think this is it. Yes, it is, but it's on the wrong screen. All right. Jeez. Whoa. What's going on there? And they're not going to see it, of course, because I got to move it.
You got to move it,
Yeah, I got to move it over to the other screen, so just hold on a sec, guys. All right, let's put it over here. I got dinky. Okay, so then I turned down the sound. Let me go back to 3-panel, and you guys can see the videos in question. And this is our break sequence of videos. So, and this is not the one that they're referring to with the tumbling and stuff. This is the other one. But the one that we're talking about, that's my footage that I recorded. And we can go through that in a minute.
Oh, here. Is this it?
No, it was the first one, I guess. That's weird. Okay, it was this one. Okay. So, I thought so. Maybe I don't have it on here.
No, it should be.
No, I grabbed the other two. Maybe I didn't get the tumbling one. There's a tumbling one that is different.
Huh. Well, we'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the point is that it's pretty profound, and it seems to indicate that we might be moving a little closer to disclosure. If we're getting, one of the top scientists or one of the
top
physicists. Yeah, he's a theoretical physicist. But Neil deGrasse Tyson has not jumped on board with it. But what he does say, and they tried to say that, he mocked it, but he didn't. I watched the interview that he was on, and he just said, look, it's unidentified. We don't know what it is. You tell me, you show me that it's an alien, then, I'll say it's alien. Which is a good claim. I mean, that's a good stance to have. But it is unidentified, and he's right by that. I mean, we can't identify it. That is a UFO. It doesn't necessarily mean
by
alien.
definition,
yeah.
it fits.
Yeah. You can't say alien just because it's not something that we built.
Right.
What else could it be? Well, I don't know, but probably aliens. I guess I would be like Michio. I'd be like, yeah, probably aliens. And I think it probably is. I do personally. But anyway, yeah, that's just really bizarre. Maybe I can, I don't want to play BBC footage on our thing. But Michio Kaku is quoted on Twitter as saying, "Are UFOs chasing our jet fighters, as recent secret documents suggest? Maybe they're experienced hypersonic drones, or he said experimental rather, hypersonic drones, or maybe aliens from outer space? ? And he says, I keep an open mind." So that's pretty profound, ladies and gentlemen. that a very well-known public figure in the scientific community and media face of the scientific community would come forward and say that.
Let me check Snopes real quick.
Oh, don't even bother. Oh, Snopes. Don't even get me started. I just say nopes to Snopes.
Just say nopes.
Just a bunch of nopes for Snopes. Not that I, believe that they're never right. It's just, I don't know, making one place your all to-do stop for whether or not something is factual, I think is a mistake.
I would love to have that, Vader, what's Snopes? Are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? I know.
What is a Snopes?
What's a Snopes? He knows what Snopes is, Lewis.
Yeah, he's just being funny.
Just don't look him up on Snopes. Because
you will touch the dark side.
The dark side will come for you all.
But anyway, you were saying?
Yes. Oh, I was saying that, it would... That goes along with what I said the other day when Duke was here about how I feel about Bigfoot and Dogmen. I can believe in those kind of things faster than I can believe in poltergeists or ghosts or things like that. Because it's a scientific, it's something you can, it's something that you can collect if possible, but we're talking about terrestrial things, not extraterrestrial things. Or other dimensional things, or portal type things.
There's those people that say that Bigfoot are from outer space too.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
There are lots of, not lots, but maybe there's lots.
There's a lot of people that do say
yeah,
interdimensional or otherworldly or extraterrestrial in EBE. That
right.
Kind of thing.
Yep, exactly, in EB. So I don't know, but I think it's a good indicator, ladies and gentlemen, that the sentiment publicly seems to be going towards. Maybe there'll be disclosure. Maybe. And what would that mean? Does that really change anything or not? I don't know. I mean, like Jim had mentioned when he was on the show, look, other countries have already disclosed. There's many countries around the world that have said, yeah, there's aliens, and here's what we know, or here's what we found. These are the weird things that happened we couldn't figure out. So there are a lot of governments and countries that have opened their books and just said, well, this is what we've seen.
Right.
And so does the United States disclosing really validate it for the world, or does it matter? I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to have that validation because I know I've seen one. I know I've seen a few, actually, but one was really up close and personal. Mm-hmm. And, it'd be nice to have that validation. Do I need it? No. I mean, I know what I saw. I don't need some governmental body to validate that for me, honestly.
You don't need external validation on it?
No,
Are you
no,
sure?
because the only thing I wish when that happened was that I wish I wasn't alone when it happened.
Yeah, I bet.
Because that's one of those things, like when I had the Bigfoot close call, I was so glad that somebody was there because, one, I was banking on that I was quicker than him.
Doubt.
Yeah. But the other part was just that knowing that it wasn't just a figment of my imagination. It was something we both very much experienced, and it was absolutely terrifying. But at least I wasn't alone, and at least there was somebody to corroborate that after the fact. So the part that sucks is having such a profound experience, but it only exists in my head. Nobody else can understand that or experience that the same way. If I had even recorded it, I'm sure I would be getting so many detractors saying, oh, that's BS, that's CG, I can tell. And I don't know what I would do then, because I would probably be just like, I'd go from 0 to pissed in no seconds. I mean, I'd be hot. Because I never perpetuate hoaxes.
Yeah, you don't.
Well, there's people that say I do because we had Kat on the show. But,
well, you know what? That's we are here as a platform, not as
not as a.
We don't fact check. We don't. We tell us your story.
Yep,
that's what it's about. It's
that's
about
the basis of the show. Yeah, right. Exactly. But that's just the thing. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You'll have to let us know. Let us know in the chat if you think disclosure is important. I think the one good thing that would come from disclosure is if they really did open their books and we could see what they've learned, what they've studied, and we can see.
We would have to have third-party validation, though, because even the mafia cooks books. So, I mean, who's to say that the governmental engine doesn't have its has their real books and then their cookbooks. And so, the cookbooks, this is what we're doing with them, which is when it's actually this over here. It's like we've got them locked up and we're doing massive amounts of, testing on them to find out if they can survive this strain of T5, whatever. So,
Don's making up pathogens.
Well,
No, that's cool. That's true. That's very true. But you're right. If there was a third party to verify it, or I don't know.
Yeah, if there was.
Well, there again, But I know what I experienced.
Right.
I know that people that experience these things, they know what they've experienced. But it's when it becomes important to you to share that with other people and to get that validation. That's when it becomes a problem, because there's some people that it doesn't matter what you tell them, they're just never going to believe you. And I mean, look at the politosphere for that. All the politics and stuff. It doesn't matter what you say. If somebody is left-leaning, they're going to lean left, and they're going to be pissed at you. And if they're right-leaning, they're going to lean right. And it's just the nature of it. People are stuck in their paradigms, and that goes both ways. So, but anyway, that was a cool thing that I wanted to share with you guys. I thought that was really interesting. Now, I found another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and apparently there's a belief that the Earth's magnetic North Pole may have just officially shifted. And if that is true, I don't know. And this is, let me pull, I got to get this stuff over on my other page because I'm using the screen too much. And let me do this. I'm just reorganizing a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. But this is coming from alien-ufo-sightings.com, and I'll put it up on screen here. And I haven't read this, so let's go through this a little bit together, but I found it just before the show. What? What is this? Send a messenger. Why the hell is that there?
I don't know.
I don't know either, because I thought this...
Just skip it.
I don't know how to. Anyway, I guess it's not important, but...
Oh, just exit out right here.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Oh, I got you. All right. This technology scares me.
He's a Luddite.
I'm a Luddite. Well, that doesn't sound nice, Don.
It's somebody who's not Amish.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's true. I am a Luddite. All right, so it says Earth's magnetic North Pole has been drifting so much in recent years that scientific estimates are no longer accurate to navigation, prompting National Centers for Environmental Information to publish updated information nearly a year early. It may sound apocalyptic, but generally speaking, the shift is no cause for alarm. Over the last 780,000 years, fossil records indicate the poles have moved and switched a number of times with no recognizable harm to living organisms. Huh?
It's not true.
Why?
Because when your poles shift, the crust slips. And if the crust slips, it creates mud floods. And if mud floods happen, we go dead. There's also another thing that says the 40 days and 40 nights of the deluge was the crust slipping, and for somehow Noah knew it was coming, whatever that may be, but it created massive flooding. So what happens is all your ice on your north and south pole melts. Your crust starts to slip, and that's probably why the magnetic north and magnetic south are shifting. So the crust is slipping, and 12,000 years ago, well, let's go with 15,000 years ago, the Sphinx is waterlogged. It has water damage. Mm-hmm. Now it's only 3,000 or 4,000 years old. Well, no, it's actually because of this amount of water damage on it. It had more than 3,000 or 4,000 years worth of rain on it, but it hasn't rained like that in that area for at least 1,000 years.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, that's interesting. Well, perhaps it does, but according to this article, there's no cause for alarm.
the shift is hitting the fan.
What?
D.
Oh. But even if this was the case, it doesn't mean sudden volcanic outbursts or swarms of earthquake clusters. Life would continue as it is, although changes to the magnetic field could have repercussions for smartphones, consumer electronics, and navigation technology.
Duh.
Wow. It says federal organizations like NASA and the Federal Aviation Administration use something called World Magnetic Model for navigational purposes as well as surveying and mapping, satellite tracking, and air traffic management because the magnetic North Pole moves about 55 kilometers each year, which is 34 miles. Governing agencies release updates to the model every 5 years, and the most recent update wasn't due until the end of this year, but unplanned variations in the Arctic regions have spurred authorities to push for a new update sooner than planned.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. It says the declination has changed just over 2.5 degrees over the past 22 years since Denver opened. Heath Montgomery, former Denver International Airport spokesman, said in a statement after the last update. So magnetic declination is the angle between the magnetic north and true north, and changes over time. Since 1831, the magnetic North Pole in northern Canada has been moving across the Arctic towards Russia. Wow.
Thank you, Sarah.
What?
She did a super chat.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's really sweet. Thank you so much. Let me see what happened. I don't know. I don't ever know what happened.
It's okay.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. You brighten our life too. Thank you so much. That's so awesome.
Now see how yours isn't doing it, but mine right here, it's lighter green and it's moving. It's a darker green is moving to the left.
Yeah, I have the pop-up window here.
I was wondering.
But so here's I have my chat popped out, so it's over here. Okay. Yep, it's doing the same thing for me.
So I asked you about that last time. You're like, oh, I don't know.
Well, see, you when you're here, you watch the chat,
Right? Yeah.
And when I'm here, I'm actually working, and I'm reading stories. Is what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, I mean I'm always reading things and pulling up references, so I just don't get a chance to see the chat too much. But yeah,
but
mine's gliding over too.
It said 2.5 degrees in 22 years.
In the past 22 years since Denver opened, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the nice part of that is basically we're moving towards the equator.
So you're saying we're going to have less snow, more
baby.
nuclear
I don't need to move. I don't need to move. It's going to get nice here.
The earth moves me for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to move.
Please, God, make it warm. Pole shift. Yes.
So, with that being said, do you think that might correlate into something about what we talk about all the time is the thinning of the veil?
That's an interesting thing, and I wonder about that, and that's an interesting correlation. Is it possible that these magnetic shifts are what is partially responsible for the thinnings of the veil? Now, the thinning of the veil, there's no scientific precedent for it, so
right.
it's hard to categorize what does that mean. And I just think that the vibrations are changing now. Could it be that polar shifts raise vibration, and for us as well as the Earth? I don't know.
Well, everything, it has to have some kind of effect on living beings because we're we have all these minerals and everything in us, and the brain chemistry and the balance, it disrupts the balance. Mm-hmm. Because if the magnetic north is moving away from true north, I think it would have some kind of effect on us as beings, and whether that be just physical or mental or spiritual or whatever that may be, I think it would have a lot to do with it.
So I'm wondering, though, so this is the magnetic north moving, but does true north always stay at the top, and is that based on our position in the solar system? I mean, that this side of the Earth is up and the other side of the Earth is down, in other words, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that North Pole is always I don't know. So basically, would it mean that eventually the North Pole and Antarctica would be that equator? I mean, is that what this is pertaining to eventually?
Because I do research on the fly here.
Which is awesome.
True north is also called geodetic north, is the direction along Earth's surface towards the geographic North Pole. Geodetic north differs from magnetic north, the direction a compass points. So the only thing magnetic north
Is okay.
would
So
be
it's just
would be the directional.
the magnetosphere.
Right.
Okay.
But true north would actually be where we are on our axis. North as a
Okay, so see, I'm looking for an axis shift then, is what
Right.
what I'm needing in order to stay in shorts all year round.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to be happening then. Dang it! I guess I might have to move.
back to Minnesota.
No, God, no. That's I love Minnesota and it was a wonderful place, but I mean, God, they just got through the 40 below stuff, and while we still have winters here, it's not 40 below winters. It's like 20, 20 is cold here. I like it.
But I don't care about weather. I'm just back on the magnetic north thing because, if magnetic north is moving, I think it would have. I'm just stuck on that idea that it has something to do with the way we perceive things.
It could be. I mean, you could be very right. Certainly, being energetic beings as well as we are, and all matter is energy at its root. How does that change the whole global situation? I don't know. It's something that I wish I were more qualified to speak to, but I think that it's got to have some kind of ramifications other than just changing the compass or navigation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they mean by it'll screw up consumer electronics. That's kind of concerning to me. It's like, wait a minute, what?
We're all of a sudden back to the 1980s.
Yeah. In some ways that would be cool, but I would sure miss...
People would die. Where's my phone?
Yeah. Oh, where's FaceTime? What's going on?
You watch those videos on Facebook of the kids with the rotary phones?
Oh, yeah. They don't know what to do. Yeah.
One?
Yeah, they're trying to push the holes and see if that works. Nope. That's funny. So I don't know. That I just thought was interesting, ladies and gentlemen. But you're right, Don. That could have some effect to these transitions we're in because the magnetosphere would be more tied to spirituality, I would think.
Yeah.
And the effects and the changes to the magnetosphere would have pretty profound effects on us.
Well, one of the very favorite ghost hunting tools is based on the magnetic pull of the magnetic energies given off by spirits or whatever that may be. So, so there, I just said it. It affects our this kind of paradigm.
I think so. I think you're right, and I think that certainly would be a discussion we should have with Brooks if we get him back on, because
Yeah, he is our kind of a go-to guy about.
He's kind of the Paranormal Portal science advisor.
Yeah.
So.
Oh boy, I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, for him.
Yeah. Poor guy. That's quite a hefty load to try to explain science to us, but we love him. Brooks is a pretty amazing guy, and he's been on the show a couple times. And if you haven't heard those episodes, ladies and gentlemen, go through the archives on YouTube and check them out.
I suggest the one about Hollow Earth.
Well, I suggest both of them. I mean, just the things he was bringing up.
I understood the Hollow Earth. I had more aha moments then. The other time I was just kind of looking stargazed at the camera going, huh?
Don was just drooling. Well, quivering and drooling.
The black-eyed bean is baked.
Yeah, I know. I mean, honest to God, I consider myself a pretty intelligent guy, but I mean, he was just like talking about things. I was just like, huh?
Right. Yeah.
You don't know how to process it. It's like, what does that mean?
What the hell does that mean? What?
Yeah, I mean, he's just such an intelligent person. Just a real nice guy, though.
Crazy.
It is. But
magnetic north.
Yeah.
Moving towards Russia and Siberia area.
Yes.
Nice.
Now, if that's just the magnetic thing, I was thinking we were moving towards the equator, and I was getting excited by that.
Well, who's to say, though, that if it doesn't, because there's always a tipping point. They talk about a tipping point. Tipping point is usually 2% of whatever your target is. So, 10,000, if your target point is 10,000, then, anyhow. But they say 2% is the tipping point. So when it gets to whatever that percentage is, so what's 2% of 180? And then it just tips. What's to say that it doesn't rotate the crust of the Earth and slip the crust?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
I mean, because, if we were standing in a room with an MRI and you turn that on, your earring's ripped out. So, magnetic north goes this way, and at some tipping point, the crust follows.
That's interesting. Speaking of MRIs, I had an emergency one time. I was having such horrible headaches and stuff, and they rushed me into the MRI, and then I got done, and then I went shopping, and none of my cards worked. I'm like, what? They didn't pull my wallet. Everything was dead in my wallet. I was like, God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they zapped me. They must have been really worried because...
Oh, they didn't? They just, took your shirt off? Or
they literally just pulled me in there and got me on there.
Clothes and all, huh?
Right. I was just in there.
Wow.
Not any special robe or anything. Just like, come here, lay down. Okay. And I'm in this thing, and it's humming, and like, what the hell's going on? I had such horrible headaches, so they were worried I had spinal bleeding or blood in the spinal fluid.
Right.
Because, it was like, God, something was really wrong, but they never did find a cause for it. But it was 2 weeks straight. I was in the most pain.
That's crazy. It zapped your cards.
I had zapped every card. Every card was just like, nothing.
It realigned the...
Yeah, it totally rewrote the magnetic strip.
I wonder what you could have done with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just knew that I had to wait 2 weeks before I could get anything while they shipped me a new one.
There you go.
True story.
Anything else over there, Mr. Brew?
No, I think that's all we got time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the... No, I'm just kidding. Just joking. Just kidding. You can't get rid of us that easy. You're stuck for 2 full hours of this kind of fun.
Which is still another hour.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
A wild bear took care of a 3-year-old boy. We were going to talk about this the other night. We didn't get around to it.
We never did. That's right.
So it says, this story I'm reading here, a 3-year-old boy who was missing for 2 days in the woods said that a bear kept him safe despite frigid temperatures and rain, according to a Facebook post from his aunt. Casey is healthy, smiling, and talking. The aunt wrote on Friday, but it's been since deleted. He said he hung out with a bear for 2 days. God sent him a friend to keep him safe. Miracles do happen. Now,
what part of the country was this in again?
You know what? Let me get there because...
That's the part that I'm wondering. If there are bears, are they hibernating now? Because they should be.
But you know what? Hibernation is not just them sleeping. They don't just sleep through the winter.
Sure.
They actually get up and move around. What they do is they just pack on all that weight so they don't have to worry about hunting because they know hunting and foraging isn't going to be very
productive.
But they don't actually sleep all the way through. It's like a dog. When your dog's bored, they sleep. When the cat's bored, it sleeps. So yeah, they do sleep, but hibernating is not sleeping. Hibernating is just cabin fever in the making.
Right.
So let me see here. I thought it was like somewhere down south though, like North or South Carolina or something like that. North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Craven County.
Okay. Now, I wonder what the temperatures. How long ago was this? Happened?
It was only like a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was just really recent.
It wasn't just. This is dated the 28th of January, so it was just a week or two ago.
Okay.
And it was 2 nights. He spent 2 nights in frigid weather and rain.
So I've got a question. To me, and I agree. And when I first saw this right after it came out, I was like, I don't think this kid probably had the vocabulary to explain what a Sasquatch is,
right.
Because I can't imagine a bear snuggling somebody for 2 days.
Okay, hold on. I have to make an addendum.
Okay.
Yes, it isn't south. It's east. I'm sorry, Lady Death. You're south.
everything's south of us. We're like scratching Canada's belly here, you know.
Yeah, everything for us is south. So I'll say southeast of us.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. But yes, vocabulary.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a 3-year-old child, so you know, they wouldn't be able to articulate, hey, guess what? This big monkey man, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, my little boy is 3 years old, and he's got a pretty good vocabulary, but I don't think he would know Sasquatch. He wouldn't understand. He wouldn't have an idea of what that really meant, you know.
Right.
Or Bigfoot or whatever. I mean, you know, I'm sure he's heard the terms, but if he met something big and hairy, he would probably just assume it was a bear too.
Right.
So, you know, I think it's a beautiful thought that if it was a bear, that it actually kind of adopted this kid and took care of him. But, you know, they didn't find any trace of a bear, you know.
Right.
Where did the bear go? Because the kid was found basically in the same woods eventually again.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 miles or 3 miles.
Yeah, it wasn't horribly far, but, you know, it was like he was he was taken care of by something with intelligence in my mind. And something that realized this is a child that needs to be kept warm.
Right.
You know, he's not going to make it if I don't take care of him. So to me, that's a very intelligent choice. Now, there is a precedent of wild animals stepping in and taking care of children, even dogs.
Yeah, everybody's seen Tarzan.
Well, not just Tarzan, because that, of course, is an act of fiction. But there was this poor community in South Africa, and it was just like a shanty town. And this mother abandoned her baby, and I guess this wild mother dog pulled it in and took care of it, and like kept it warm, and apparently nursed it to some extent.
Yeah, so there is a precedence. Yeah,
right. There is a precedent for this happening, and it could be possible that it was a bear. But you know, I just think of the situation, and it's like, you know, what are the odds? I mean, the odds are greater for me that it was a Bigfoot, you know, just because I believe they're out there. I believe that they are a real thing. I don't think that it's just a flight of fancy. I think there's a lot to that. And if they are out there and they are intelligent, then if they saw a child. Now, there are other stories of Bigfoots. There's one that I can think of right off the top of my head where a little boy was camping with his family and wandered off in the woods and got lost. And he allegedly just sat down and cried in the woods, and this big hairy thing came up and brought him back to the campsite and, you know, shushed him back in and then left. And the parents were like, where have you been? Because he was gone for, you know, a day or the better part of a day. And they were absolutely frantic and getting search parties organized and stuff. And he said that this big hairy monster brought him back, you know. And so, I mean, they apparently, if you get the right kind, you know, I think there's plenty of them. There's not plenty, but there's some that would probably just eat them like a sandwich, you know, because they prey on people.
It's crunchy with ketchup.
Right. Well, but anyway, you know, there are stories of Sasquatch intervening and, you know, doing that. Usually it's the females, you know.
Right.
The explanations I've heard is that it's normally the females with the maternal instinct. But the point is that there is a precedent for that also in the community. So it could be either, but to me, my money's on the fact that it was a Sasquatch. Right. That to me just makes more sense than a bear, which is a very wild, feral animal with very limited intelligence. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have their own intelligence. Right. But if they saw a child, I mean, would I got to keep it warm come into their head, or, you know, would it be?
I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, is that Domino's just coming by? You know, I mean, really. So
delivery.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so. I've had run-ins with black bear before. You know, I mean, I told the story about the one that ran right through my front yard. You know, and friends are over, kids are out in the front yard, and it's like, get him inside. It's a black bear. Yeah. You know, but, you know, and all he did was he just ran right through the yard. We heard him coming. We're like, is that Sasquatch? No, it's a brown bear. It's a black bear. It was a black bear.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so,
God, is a
it came across my driveway, up into my yard, and then down the hill on the other side over by the elderberry bushes.
It went down by the pond? Is that the direction it went? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It came from the north, cut across, down the hill to the south where we went down mushrooming.
Yep,
down there.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, great. So went and got my 30-06, just kind of patrolled the
perimeter.
the perimeter, you
Yep.
know. But
Wow.
I mean, granted, they are probably more scared of us than we are of them, and that's the truth. They won't mess with you. And this was like mid-spring, so he was probably full.
Oh.
So of my chickens.
Yeah.
DiGiorno.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they don't have to mess with you, they won't.
Right.
But so my point is they don't have to mess with the little boy who's standing there, maybe crying, in rain. They don't have to mess with him. They just probably walk away.
Right. That's just it. They would just go,
Yeah.
oh, if I'm not hungry, then what? Something's making noise over there. But yeah, I just think it just shows. It shows an act of compassion to me, which I think is really profound.
Which is beyond, which is more beyond a bear than would be normally accepted. Is that
Right.
what you're?
Yeah. I mean, generally their instinct is going to be like, do I eat it or leave it alone? But either way, it's going to be, not spending time with it.
Right. It's not going to hang around for 2 days, keeping you warm like a little puppy.
So what do you guys think? Out there in the chat world, what do you guys think? If you're not familiar with that story, then that's basically the story. What do you think it was? Do you think it was a bear? Do you think it could have been a Sasquatch? And to me, I'm thinking Sasquatch, and I'm just thinking the child only knew bear as a description for something
Right.
big and hairy.
And maybe it was a juvenile, so it wasn't as big and scary as. Well, and we talked to Kat just the other. She thought they were just dirty hippies.
When she was,
So
Yep.
who knows? Lady Death says she's 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
Lewis says I think it's a Bigfoot.
Okay. I think so too, Lewis.
So-
I really do. And Lady, I appreciate that. I think that's, it could be. It's not like it couldn't be a bear, but it just seems to me that it would be a little different. So let's say hi to everybody, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do we got in here tonight?
Well, let's start with Deb because
Okay.
she's there, and Regula just made it in. So hi, Regula.
Hey, Regula.
Of course, we got Ken, we got Lewis, and we got Lady Death, of course, Diana, Brian Gasca. Brian, nice to see you, buddy. Cosmic Grandmaster. We got our friend D and Gemini and Hacker. James Cameron's here.
Excellent.
We need some airtime there, Mr. Cameron. Jessica's here. Jim, Josie, Lena, Jellyfish, Lord Vader, Lewis MCAT, Paranormal Portal, and Sarah.
Woo! Well, thanks, guys, for being here, and thanks for being a part of the show. I did just see Regula come in. Good to see you. Always a pleasure when you guys come by and hang out. Who needs to give us airtime?
James Cameron.
Oh, okay.
I'm the king of the world.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
we need your cameras. If you're that James Cameron. If you're not, welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Love your movies. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, goodness.
An all-star family cast. Absolutely. I don't know if he's talking about us or not, but
I don't know.
I'm just looking at the chats too
We are
here.
all-star.
Well, we're some kind of stars in our own minds.
Well,
Star
in our own sky.
That's our own sky.
Our own star.
What color's the sky in your world, Don?
It's purple, and it's got some what is it called? Icing on top.
It's funny. I looked at the chat list,
Mm-hmm.
and my list has never updated. I only had like 5 or 6 names on there, but you had a whole bunch, so that's cool.
Wow.
I guess that's a quirk of Facebook or YouTube rather. Yeah, I was just gonna look at this quick and see just what the hell's going on. But anyway, we got a lot more that we can get into. We're down to about just about over a half hour left, Don.
Just over a half hour?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Okay, so
8:21.
that discussion took 20 minutes.
Well, it takes a long time for us to discuss anything.
Well, and also it kind of brings this. There was just a story that just hit Facebook about the goose that was frozen to the light pole the guy went to get it and brought it down and found out that the goose, and Lady Death mentioned it too, the goose was holding a puppy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was just on
Aw.
Facebook. I just saw it just before we started, and Lady Death saw it. So,
Oh, that's sweet. Was the puppy dead?
no.
Oh, okay, good.
No.
I mean, that's happy.
Wow.
I don't know. You said it was frozen to a pole or something.
No, the goose was frozen on. I don't know. I didn't really get to read too much of the story, but
Okay.
but it was
Well,
bad weather and
Let's go through it. Where is it?
Okay, let me find it.
Yeah, you go ahead and.
But this speaks to the whole
Compassion.
thing.
Compassion just seems to be the theme for tonight, doesn't it?
Yes, it does actually. Unless we're talking about the magnetic north, and then we're talking about thinning of veils and.
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, it's funny because here's the trend that I've noticed on. I'll pull up just a bunch of random stories for a show, and I'll get on and do the show, and it's like all of these stories that I pulled up have a theme. Like sleep paralysis will come up over and over and over, and it's not like I'm pulling it from a sleep paralysis list. It's just
it's happened to us several times. Yeah.
Right, but I mean these themes emerge through every show, and so it's like there's this higher consciousness at work. I mean, honest to God, it's starting to really baffle me because these themes come out. So tonight's theme seems to be compassion. So
well, see, but we threw up there, paradigm, so it could be any part of that lens.
Sure.
There you go. See, I can.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think I need to relabel the show or anything, but it's just funny how these themes emerge from every show. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay because I'm still trying to find the
article.
Yes.
All right.
So you go ahead and talk, and I'll find this. And
I'm gonna just read a quick ghost story.
Sure.
Then. Yeah. Oh dear God, I don't want to read that one. It has to do with a skinned dog, and I don't know what the hell that one is. But
yeah, let's skip that.
I'm not going to read that on the air. I don't like me any creepy, ugly stuff. So, all right, this one takes place in Virginia, and it says, I go to this really creepy high school, and everyone knows it's haunted, and the girl and the guy, there's a girl and a guy in a black coat. They did a show about it on X-Files, and I'm not a big fan of the supernatural since Dolly, and I don't know, it refers to a different story that was submitted. I prefer to ignore things like that. Well, I was headed for class from the nurses, and I heard this girl crying and asking for help. I went in the bathroom, and she was in the corner just crying, and she had an old kind of clashing dress and blonde beaded pigtails. And I looked at her and said, "What's wrong?" And she didn't look at me. Then she just collapses on the floor. Well, I got my phone and texted my friend Nina, "Help," in the upstairs bathroom. And I got down and pushed the girl on her back, and while I was trying to find a pulse, Nina came in and asked what was wrong, and I told her that I got a pulse, and then I was going to do CPR, and I told Nina to get the nurse. I got up to get some paper towels to put on the girl's forehead, and Nina said, "What if the nurse, where's the girl?"
Oh.
I turned around, and the girl was gone. We bolted out of there and went back to class, and the teacher said that we looked like we saw a ghost. And Nita's big mouth said, "We did." And the teacher said, "Was it the girl or the guy?"
Oh.
A few weeks later, I was waiting after school for my boyfriend to get out of detention, and I told him I was going to walk around and see if any doors were unlocked. And, well, I went to my drama class, and the door wouldn't open, so I walked away, and the door opened. And I figured, I'm weak. So I was going to go through some of the grades, changing them, when I saw this old guy in a long black trench coat. He was staring at me. And the door opened, and my boyfriend came in and asked, "Who's this old man, Kristen?" And I said, "The guy," and the guy just stared at us with these evil eyes. Then they give me nightmares sometimes because they were black and narrow, and he just disappeared. It says, I hate seeing stuff, and I'm scared to tell people my stories. Well, that's all kinds of creepy.
It is.
Did you find that story?
Not yet.
Oh, my God, Don, we're going to run out of show.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, what will we do? I got to know about the puppy, damn it.
All right, well, let me do it this way.
Okay.
Let me find it.
Goose and puppy story.
Goose and puppy.
The goose. Das ist der Gust. All right, so I guess this is the Dolly thing that he was talking about.
Okay.
So let's read this one. It says, I'm 17, but I was 10 when this happened. I lived with my parents and my brother in my grandma's house, and Grandma got me this interactive doll, which is Dolly, and a porcelain doll. It says and a porcelain doll, and then in parentheses, doll. Okay. I guess she named one Dolly, and the other one Doll. Okay. Dolly would learn to talk and walk as I played with her, and I always played with them both, but my favorite was Doll. One day, Dolly stopped talking, and I ran crying to my brother saying, Dolly's dead.
Oh, God.
And he said the batteries were dead and that he'd buy new ones the next day. Later, I was playing Tea Party with Dolly and Doll, and Dolly fell and started talking in gibberish. I got scared and grabbed Doll and ran crying to my brother, and he picked Dolly up and hit her head and said everything was better. After that, I started playing with Doll and left Dolly in the corner, and I heard this girl's voice say, he hurt me. I grabbed Doll and got scared and said, who was that? And the girl's voice said, me, Dolly. I screamed and was huddled in the corner, and my brother came in there and asked what was wrong. And I said, Dolly talked. He told me I needed some fresh air and took me to catch some turtles. When we got back, I went upstairs and put out the turtles, put the turtles with my other ones.
Excuse me.
And I heard Dolly say, I'm not trying to scare you, but I do want to kill your turtles. Oh, jeez. I yelled, says, I don't want to scare you, but I want to kill your turtles.
Oh,
I yelled, no, go away. And Dolly said, if you don't kill those turtles, I'll smash Doll.
Oh, wow.
I got really scared and picked Dolly up and put her at the bottom of my trunk and put all my toys and books on top of the trunk. And then I went to eat with my brother. And after dinner, I went upstairs to my room and started crying because Dolly was on my bed under the covers and Doll was smashed up in the floor and all my Barbies' heads were ripped off.
Oh, wow.
When I told my parents what happened, they didn't believe me. But my dad said I seemed really scared of Dolly and that he'd take her to the dump right away. Between now and then, we've moved a few times, and every once in a while, my dad would mention Dolly, and I get scared when I was 12 and 13. The last time we moved was last year, and I was going through some old boxes, and I found Dolly. I took her upstairs and asked my dad why she was down there, and he told me he thought I would come around and want her back. And I took her to the guest room and sat her next to some books, and I figured I had just imagined it all. Me and my niece, 6 at the time, were sleeping in the guest room because my room wasn't finished, and the next morning I woke up and got dressed, and I helped my niece pick out some clothes, and she told me that last night Dolly scared her, and that she said she wanted us dead.
Oh, my.
I freaked because no one in my family talked about Dolly, and I never told her Dolly's name. So I ran in the room, grabbed Dolly, and threw her outside in the burn pit. Okay, burn pit. I was like, bump it? What? I got some lighter fluid and torched Dolly. Me and my niece swear up and down we heard yelling coming from the fire. I don't know. That's
what MCAT just said too. Is set her on fire.
Burn. Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. Did you find it?
Of course I did.
All right. Then we're going to go to Beard Vision here, ladies and gentlemen.
Why?
This story will be brought to you in Beard Vision.
As I sexually stroke my beard. Okay, so we're going back to, was it compassion we were talking about? Heartwarming scene of a goose. Ghost. What am I talking about here? Heartwarming scene of a goose keeping a puppy warm in its wings after it was abandoned on the street. There's the pictures. The images are posted on Facebook after someone came upon the scene on the street. The first user thought that the goose was going to attack the puppy after seeing it staying close to the puppy. The puppy appeared to be abandoned shortly after birth and was shivering terribly in the cold. According to the post, the goose did not hesitate to wrap its wings around the puppy and later stroke its head with its beak. Animals have so much to teach us. Compassion has been defined as an emotional response when perceiving suffering and involves an authentic desire to help. So there you go. That's basic.
That's a cool, very quick story. I mean, it's sweet though. It's sweet. Wow. You know, that's like, you ever see those videos on YouTube that show these unlikely friendships?
Yeah.
And it'd be like between a polar bear and a canary or something like that. You know, it's like, what? But they're like inseparable, or like the elephant and a dog or something like that. I think those are really profound and really cool. But it's almost like some animals are developing consciousness so much deeper than normal to me, and those are what we're seeing when we observe those things. It's like that it's maybe an evolution of consciousness in these animals.
Right.
It's not all of them. I mean, there's stupid animals too, but every once in a while these animals, like you hear about these stories, like in China they had a slaughterhouse, and there was this cow there that wouldn't get up and wouldn't walk in, and was just sitting there with tears running down its face, tears going down its face, because it knew where it was going. It knew that inside of there was death. And it just kneeled down, laid down, and wouldn't move. There people were swatting it, beating it, pushing it. They tried to, leverage it with boards, and it wouldn't move. And these tears are just flowing down this cow's face. And finally, the people working there, their hearts just started breaking. And so they all pooled their money and bought this cow and brought it to a farm where it could live its life out. But it's like these consciousnesses are seeming to emerge in unlikely places like that. And I'm not saying that all things don't have consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not implying that, but it's almost human level understanding in some of these animals, and that is an enigma. That's not normal. I think all animals have a soul. All animals are beautiful, and they all have an understanding to a degree. But then once in a while, and for all of you out there that have had pets, you've had stupid pets, and you've had some pets that were just really special. There was just something amazing about these pets, whether it was a bird, even a fish. I've seen people doing tricks with their freaking goldfish. It's like, how did you teach a goldfish to jump through a hoop? There's a guy on YouTube that did that. I don't know how, but it's like this emerging intelligence that's coming from some of these animals. Now, I've also had pets that were just dumber than bricks. It's like, oh my God, why are you doing that? Why do you continue to do that? And other pets that were just like nearly human in their nature and in their understanding. It's like they were just so cued in and tuned in to the emotional frequency of everything, and they just thrived. But I love all animals, and I'm not meaning to imply anything else, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, that there seems to be these lights in some of these animals that are so much brighter than all the other ones, and I don't know what it means, but it's really an amazing thing to me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I wonder if and lots of people are talking about it in the chat. So, but I wonder if the consciousness of the animals are also opening up, with the thinning of the veils or the shifting of the poles or whatever you want to call it. Is everything, is all living things having this awakening of conscience? Are they having this conscious awakening? And that actually sounds better. But is it part of a process for all living things, or is it just us as the alpha? Right. To wonder these things, Yes. Maybe it was a bear. Maybe, in talking about what you were just talking about, maybe the bear had an opening of consciousness.
Yeah. Maybe it was an emergence of consciousness. And, I don't know. I don't understand it, because I don't believe that all animals operate on that level. I really don't. I just think there's some just really prodigious intelligence in some of these creatures, just unlikely creatures. But I've seen fish that like getting petted, You ever see those videos? A guy will put his hand down the water and the fish will come up and it's like it's snuggling. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that was possible. But it's like, and maybe it's us. That's the key. Maybe it's our energies that are sparking this in them as well. It's like, for instance, and this is kind of a weird example, but sometimes people will be in a room and they'll just be kind of sullen and whatever, but every once in a while there's like this one special person that can walk into a room and the whole place lights up. It just lights up, and there's something really amazing that happens, and it inspires everyone around them. And I think we all know these kind of people. We all have these kind of people in our worlds. And maybe this is the same thing with these animals, that they just get turned on somehow. Like it's in there, and they're capable of it. But like maybe those pets that really excel and do these amazing things, maybe they are the pets of these really amazing people, you know? I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out, but it is truly fascinating. I think it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but there seems to be something to it. But I think that's a beautiful story of that goose just deciding. Now geese are amazing anyway, ladies and gentlemen, because
suck.
they bond for life. I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
They find one love and one mate, and that's what they will just only mate with that for the rest of their lives. They are the most devoted things, you know, them and wolves. But you know, I mean, it's just that. And there's been hunter stories of people hunting geese, shooting one and it goes down dead, and the mate will come down and just stay there and won't move. It just will not leave that you know, beloved, for lack of a better term. And are animals capable of that kind of love and devotion? Well, maybe they are, and maybe it's just us that hasn't realized the sentience that exists in these things. And as our energy goes up and as our understanding increases, then we can find it in them and realize maybe it was always there. We were just, you know, blind. Right. You know, maybe all these animals all have this abilities, and they are this emotionally progressed. It's just that we just haven't had the eyes to see it. Right. So maybe it's an example of us just being able to see finally more clearly. I don't know. I don't know. These are all just different theories, different ideas, but that's the way I work. You know, I just get these questions in my head, and I get all these possible explanations. And I don't know. I couldn't tell you which one of them is right or if any of them are, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's really amazing. Now, I have heard shamanic practitioners talk about having discussions with animals and getting information from animals. And in one such case, on Beyond the Veil, there was this guy from Australia that was on there, or these two guys from Australia, and they were talking about, and I only basically just heard bits of the show as I was doing something else, so I wasn't able to just give it on my whole attention, and I really wanted to go back and re-listen to it. I'll have to ask Chris which episode that was, but they were talking about training with this one, really amazing guy in their spiritual development, and they had certain rituals they had to do, and they had to do things like bathe before going to do their spiritual practices, whatever they were. And the master lived out in the sticks, out in the outback somewhere. And one of the guys was going to do his practices and was in a rush, so he just kind of skipped some of the steps and went in to do it. Had a terrible time. And everything went wrong, and it was, really a bad situation for him on a spiritual level, as I recall. And later on, he drove out to the outback to this quote unquote master's place, and he said, "I heard about what you did." And the guy said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Yep, I heard it from the kangaroo when I was talking to him that you didn't do those practices correctly." And it was like, wow. And the guy was just talking about how blown away he was that the animals were able to relate that experience. And now, is that just a form of channeling? And I don't know. Are the animals the focal point, or is he actually communicating with animals? I don't know. But how amazing would that be?
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of Dr. Dolittle syndrome,
Right, exactly.
Speaking with the animals and figuring out what they're thinking. I mean, I think the best way I could probably quantify it to me is empathy. The kangaroo, and the medicine man or whatever. They share empathy, so they can convey thoughts between each other.
I mean, that's probably true. It's more of an emotional communication,
right?
But so profoundly that they can actually relay thoughts,
right?
It's not just you're in a bad mood, you're in a good mood, you feel happy, no, you feel sad, whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's a very profound level of communication. So I think that's really cool. I always thought it'd be neat to be able to talk to the animals. But then again, I'm envious of psychics that can just have conversation with spirits as well. I think that's really, really cool. Because if you could talk with spirits and get answers, and like have a real conversation, what could you learn? What could you learn about the nature of everything? I don't know. I love the idea that, that maybe that's possible on a telepathic level. Of course, we have some of our psychic friends are able to do just that, and I think that is so amazing.
Huh. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's nebulous to me. I mean,
no, I get it.
That's me.
Yep. I wasn't mocking you. Really.
Oh, no.
I just thought it was funny. You just went, huh.
Yeah. Well, because I'm just sitting here thinking, it's something intangible for me. It's something that,
Yeah, I do. I understand, but it's also just mysterious.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think that I just wonder, what are we capable of? What can we do? What really could we accomplish? That to me is exciting, because I think that we are, so for instance, we use roughly 10% of our brains in our life. Now, is the brain an exact measure for our full potential, or is the brain just a medium that our full potential can work through? Mm-hmm. That's the part that kind of confuses me. It's like, if we had full function of our brain, would we actually have more ability in this incarnation?
Yeah.
Or you think we would? Okay.
Yeah, I think we would. Because we could affect more. We would understand how to affect more things, mm-hmm. and we would understand that we can and how we can interact with them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think there would be possible. Touch that next dimension. Yeah, why not?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably true. Or we would have an awareness.
Yeah.
That goes so much deeper, just because we would be able to receive so much more information. Now, for me, I think about this quite a bit, and it's like, being alive is a wonderful experience, but it almost feels like a a penalty, because
yeah.
So we have 100% of our brain in our head, but we only get to use 10 to 15% of it, and that's it. So isn't it bizarre that we could walk around with the head about the size of a gerbil and probably do the same things? Probably we could do the same amount of stuff that we do now, because we only get to use a small part of it. So, I don't know. But then you look at the alien depictions, and their heads are like, these huge bulbs.
Melons.
And how much are they using? If they're using 100% of that head, then we're screwed if it ever goes south. But, I don't know. It's just like, why do we have this whole brain if we can only use 10% of it? But I think that that's kind of a misnomer anyway. I think
so.
Maybe it's 10% at any given time, but we probably use most of it throughout the course of our lives.
Well, I think we could relate that to aging in general, because the younger you are, you're using brand new neural pathways. The pathology of the brain is amazing. But so when you're a baby, you've got all these brand new synapses and everything's firing, and you're learning everything as fast as you can. And then you get up to my age and go, my God, I've forgotten so much. and then so maybe it's this progressive thing. You kind of use it up. Your brain cells can't be it's not your liver. It doesn't regenerate.
Right.
So so maybe it's because it's moving to different spots. I mean, there's a name for everything. You got the you got the left and right hemispheres, and all the spots and the motor functions, and happens in this part of the brain and the brainstem, blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But you're only using parts of those, and as you grow older, parts of those atrophy, or that you lose those memories and you move to another area within that spot. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, maybe maybe we only use X amount at any one time because X amount is dead.
Right.
Especially if you drink.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
but I've killed a few in my days.
Yeah. But I think it's just because you're growing older, those cells are dying off, and you've got and they move to different spots, and that's why you forget things. It's not that you're dumb or it wasn't profound enough to remember. It's mm-hmm. just it's useless information now. It happened 40 years ago,
Right.
Of course, but no, I mean, there are plenty of people that remember, times. I've told a story on the air before about me having my first memory of being tiny and being literally just passed over from my mother to my grandmother across the kitchen, the dining table. You know, and I have this vivid memory of it, and I wasn't 2 or 3 years old. I was younger.
Like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my first memory is getting my diaper changed. So I don't know how old I was, but I know that I wasn't doing it on my own. It was being done for me by my mom. I remember that, and I remember looking up and seeing her, and she was busy doing the thing, and I looked over and saw a box with a picture of a baby on it. And I figured that must have been the Pampers box because, you know, there's a big baby head there.
That's where those things came from.
Yep, exactly. But I remember what it felt like to get that old wet diaper off and get that new, nice, dry one on.
That fresh feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, whew. I know. It's those fond memories. So,
Lady Death says, you can't regenerate, but you can strengthen neuron connections.
what did I put in my Coke? What?
What?
Do I sound drunk or something?
I don't know.
I'm totally sober. I don't drink
What did
or
you put in your Coke?
I don't drink or anything. So, I mean, I do very occasionally, but and I don't use substances. So, this is just how screwed up I always am, Sarah. This is as good as it gets.
This is the best you're gonna get. So anyhow, Lady Death says you can strengthen the neuron connections.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just thinking, use fluoride.
Oh,
Joking.
she remembers chewing on her wooden baby bed. Oh, that's cute.
Oh, sure.
She was a baby beaver. Oh, that's adorable. Anyone else? Anyone else got an early memory?
Yeah.
Let's
What's
hear 'em.
your early memories? Yeah.
Come on,
share
guys.
'em. We only have like 10 minutes left. Come on, share a couple in the chats.
Come on, guys, carry us out here.
Come on, help us out.
We've been doing all the heavy lifting. It's your turn.
Apparently, he's been doing all the heavy lifting.
Well, that's true.
Oh, God.
Thank you for acknowledging that, Don. He's doing the jug band over there. So, no, I just think it's really cool. You remember, Regula remembers a lot from her very early childhood as well. So that's cool. Anyone else? Nobody? Going once? Going twice? Any early memories? Now's the time.
So, okay, anyhow.
Lewis loves the childhood song. No, that's it. That's cool. I think that's really interesting. But, yeah, I don't know what this whole 10% of the brain thing is and why we only get 10%. Now, if you believe that we are an engineered race, then we were engineered specifically not to use all of our brain.
That's right, because they didn't want us rising up and taking over.
They didn't want us to be challenging the throne, I guess, so to speak. So they bred all our brain out of us somehow, or gened it out of us. So if you believe that we are a manufactured race, and I think there's something to that as well, from the cuneiform tablets all the way back into antiquity, they were mentioning these Anunnaki. And Jim has mentioned it when he was on the show about how they went against the rule of the Galactic Council and created us to mine some gold. And so we were a slave race eventually.
Sounds like a sim.
A what?
It sounds like a sim.
A sim?
Yeah, like a sim.
Simulation?
A video game, a sim.
Oh, The Sims?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or,
yeah,
there's
it does.
more than just that, but there's just more than just The Sims,
well, I mean, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing, yeah.
Right.
Sounds like, something came down. Well, it's like a covenant, the aliens' covenant.
Yes.
Something came down and we were seated. And, I can believe that, too. I can actually believe that. So, there's me. Yeah.
There's me. What?
That's me. That's
oh, yeah.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I can believe that we were seated. That, and that's where that's kind of where the term starseed comes from.
Well, I thought it was different. Okay. But no, I know that it's the idea of special people being put here for the progress of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is I hope that at some point we can move past that 10% barrier and, get to the whole head thing and see what we can do, because I don't know. It seems to me that everybody's just in such a state of agitation because the same game's been going on for far too long. We're ready for that next step, I think, as a people. And I think it's part of the reason there's so much vitriol right now is that people are they're just uncomfortable anymore. They're just not willing to put up with things the way they've been for so long. But
Ken says one of his first memories is laying in his his cot, as we would say crib, I suppose, screaming for a bottle.
Oh.
And he says, I got given a baby bottle of sugar and water. He says he would have been about 6 months old as my baby sister was there, and she died before I was born. So interesting there. He says, I can remember most of my childhood and babyhood. So interesting. Wow.
That's excellent. Yeah. That's usually, I think, a sign of a lot of intelligence, is what I understand, having that much early recall.
Right.
Not that anybody's not intelligent, but, it just seems to me that's pretty cool. Right? See, there's a reason we're a family, ladies and gentlemen. The Portal fam is a bunch of smart people.
I love that question you asked.
What?
Do you have any weird relatives in your family? Here we are.
Me? It's that old saying. If every family has someone that's weird. If you don't know who it is, it's probably you.
It's probably you. If you can't figure it out, look in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. That was me. I think I am. I don't know. I thought those questions were fun, and thank you to all of you who've been participating in those. It's really cool to hear. It's really cool to hear what you guys have, how you guys answer those as well. And if you don't know what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to my Facebook page, for Brent Thomas, I answered a bunch of it's an app thing. You answer questions, and I didn't expect it, but other people have been joining in and answering them as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it helps me to learn more about you guys as well. So that's really cool. And thank you for the participation. But definitely keep if you're not already following us on Facebook, you can follow us at Paranormal Portal Radio. So facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. And any of you have stories or anything to share with the show? What?
Jessica just said Don's the weird uncle. I hope not. Because it's not usually the weird uncle. It's usually the creepy uncle.
Oh, yeah. No.
I don't want to be the creepy uncle.
No, you're not creepy. You're like a big teddy bear.
Wow.
Oh,
sorry, anyhow, you were giving out the email address.
I did give it out, but I was just, make sure to follow us on Facebook as well, because, I want that crowd to grow too. And if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel here, please do subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Hit the bell, ladies and gentlemen. That will keep you notified of whenever we're doing something on the portal, which is every night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We are doing some form of the portal, and on Wednesdays and Saturdays, Don joins me, and we get nights like tonight, where anything goes.
Dee says, no, the funny uncle. And Jessica says, in a lovable way. That reminds me of a movie that was just suggested to me, In Plain Sight. the creepy uncle. Sight? Yeah, it was. It's a kidnapping story.
Oh, geez.
It's one of those true crime. It came out happily though.
Oh, good.
So
okay.
It was all good. But wow. When she said that, that's what popped into my head. I was like, oh no. Anyhow, I'm sorry.
You know what I was thinking about that little boy though that got apparently.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is that thank God that kid's home, no matter how he got home.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine the torment of those parents during that time. If they even knew, I don't know. That was at the grandmother's house, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at the grandmother's house. Yeah, I've already exited out. But they found him like 40 or 50 yards just past the yard.
Right.
So but there was like 600 people looking for him. How can you miss somebody who's only 40 or 50 yards away?
That's why I just don't think it's a bear,
yeah,
right? Because a bear is just going to be like, oh, screw you, I'm out of here.
Yeah, so what I'm wondering is if he actually wandered off that far, but whatever that bear was brought him back because they knew where he should have been, or they scented a trail and followed the trail back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, being 3 years
but 2
old.
Days old.
The thing is I think of my little one is 3, and I mean he's always got a real gravity towards where we are. Mm-hmm. Like if we get out of sight, he's like, "Where's mom? Where's mom?" And he'll just fly around and look until he finds. And granted, we're always right around the corner or whatever, but I just couldn't imagine him ever going for a journey on his own. It's like it just would never enter his mind.
Right.
He's just a shy little, clinger, and it's wonderful because it's at least I don't ever have to worry about that. Like, there's these children that'll just be like, oh, I can open the door. Let's see where I can go.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're 5 blocks away, and somebody's bringing them home, going, "Your kid was down at my house.
Why is he down in? Why was he in my house?
Yeah. Why was he in my fridge? I don't get it.
Creeper.
Yeah.
Why was he in my fridge? That was Don's house.
He was trying to crawl into my freezer, but I stopped him.
All right.
But it's just the idea that at least that's one thing as a parent I don't have to worry about. But some children are absolutely fearless. They just have no fear. They'll just, I'm going to go see what's over there, and they'll just keep going. So this must be one of those kids if he did wander that far away.
Yeah,
but
crazy.
I'm just thankful that I don't ever have to worry about that. All my kids have been real real emotionally and close, and I've never had to worry about them being overly brave. Not that they aren't brave and whatever, but
Yeah, not overly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, anyhow, wow.
What did Sarah said? I shared mine. What did you share? Mine was when I was 1 and played with my new puppy. Oh, that's awesome. That's a good memory. That's really sweet. Yeah. I think that's really cool. It seems like we all have very early memories here. So,
Regula says I was the oldest of 3, and I began to have a lot when my brother was born in Germany.
Oh.
I was a year old, staying with a family who had a baby my age, and a man who spoke German, who I called Opa. Well, of course, that means grandpa. So yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Opa means grandpa pretty much everywhere. Except here.
Yeah.
Yep. In Indonesia, it's Opa as well. Yep. Huh. That's really cool. Yep, we saw it. I got that. I just want to make sure anybody else has said anything that we might have missed, because I love it when you guys participate. So, and again, guys, I'm looking into getting us a phone line for the portal so that we can take calls anytime we do a show. I think that caller-based shows are great, and you guys certainly bring a lot of value and entertainment to the shows when you call in and take part and participate. So I'll be looking into that. I don't know when I'll be able to secure it for sure, but it's something I'm definitely looking into. So hopefully we can make that happen and make it available all the time, because when I'm doing 7 shows a week and only 2 of those are available for call-in, so it feels like we're missing something still. So we're trying to keep it growing for you guys. But any way you guys can help, that's wonderful. Sarah, thank you so much again for the super chat. That was really wonderful, and it really helps, and that will always go back to reinvesting in the show. Mm-hmm. All of that will. So, but we'll keep it going and see what we can get done here on the show. I think that's about it, Don. It's 9 bells.
It is. It is time to go, and thank you very much for being with us, as always. Love to everyone, and remember, keep your chickens safe. Don't let the owls get to them. I don't know why I came up with that. I don't know why that is.
Everybody grab your chicken.
And if you want to watch something good, watch
the Bundy tapes.
Watch the Bundy tapes.
Sorry, I couldn't. No,
that was good, by the way, Diana. And there was a lot of information that I'd forgotten about. But anyhow.
What?
The Bundy tapes.
Oh, yeah, I can't watch things like that.
Oh, God, it was great.
No, I'm sure it is, but I won't be watching it. I just can't. I just always, after working in corrections and dealing with those people, for me, it's just...
I understand.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life in many ways, but it was also...
They're taxing.
Yeah.
They are very taxing type people.
And you get these stains on your soul that you can never feel like you can wash off. So
that's true.
All right, everybody. Well, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out.
Turd Ferguson.
That's what your mother said last night. So if we're gonna go back to the Jeopardy, yeah.
It just popped in my head. I'm sorry.
Could you be any more freaking random?
Oh.
Why are you so broken, Don?
Goodness.
Last words on the show are Turd Ferguson, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, Turd Ferguson. You see, I don't get paid enough for this.
Yeah, you do.
I don't, no. All right, guys. Love you bunches, and we will see you soon. I'll be back tomorrow night for more bedtime stories from beyond, and then I'll be back with you Friday night.
And I'll see you Saturday.
And Don will be here Saturday. So it's always fun and exciting and adventurous here on the Portal. And if you have any ideas or suggestions for the show, please email those in as well. We always like to hear what you guys got on your mind and what you think you'd like to see us be doing. So take care, everybody. Love you. Again, be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the bedtime stories.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Woo!